The Edwards Aquifer Authority's critical period management plan is really our effort to try to help the people that we regulate manage their water use in the most efficient way through a drought. It's a regulatory program that requires certain cutbacks in use of water from the Edwards during the most severe and intense droughts that we experience throughout the region. So critical period management is a way for us to sustain the aquifer at levels sufficient enough to continue to maintain spring flows from the two spring systems through droughts. Everything is predicated on a potential repeat of drought of record, the historic drought we experienced in the 1950s. As a regulatory agency, the Edwards Aquifer Authority regulates those entities that use water from the Edwards Aquifer through a permitting system. And that includes not just individuals, but also larger uses like municipalities, industries, and irrigation users. So when we go into a stage of critical period management because of drought, what we're doing is we're imposing on those entities certain restrictions that notifies them and lets them know they need to curtail their use from the aquifer by some incremental amount. And the more that the drought persists, the more that the aquifer levels begin to drop, the more that curtailment that will be required. The difference is that we do not regulate the end user, the citizen, for example, because they more than likely are receiving their water from their local utility provider, whether it be a city or a water utility that they are dependent on for their water. So we don't prescriptively tell the end user, the person that opens a tap at their home, on how to use their water or how much to cut back. We impose the limitations on the water utility. For example, in this region, the biggest utility is the San Antonio water system. So we impose a restriction on SAWS, for example, and they in turn then pass along those restrictions in however they decide to best do it to their end users or their customers. Those practices vary across the region. For example, from city to city, these various utility users and providers may choose to pass that on to their end user in whatever ways they deem most appropriate. Our concern as a regulator is just that the main provider of water from the Edwards is sticking to the curtailment that's required of them during a period of drought.